Extreme Anime Radio.
And we are here, everybody. Welcome to the season finale of XAR Podcast Season... I think this is Season 6. I'm JR, and he's Neff. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good evening. It's a wonderful night in the neighborhood. I'm missing a Leafs game, but hey, we're winning anyway, so I don't care.
The way things went on Monday, the original reason we didn't stream Monday was to watch the National Collegiate Football Championship, or the College Football Championship, depending on what vocabulary you use. And based on how things went, Neff, maybe we should have just come on like the second half and do a show. Oh my goodness.
Let me put it this way. There are beatings, and then there are swarmings. That was a swarming. There's no other way to describe that. I mean, I bailed on it to watch a hockey game that turned out to be a beating and a swarming as well. So it's like...
But, so yes, congratulations to Georgia once again, who actually completely demolished the Horned Frogs. So the pictures of the Futurama TCU Hypnotoads didn't work really good.
Well, I liken this to TCU Cinderella story. No. Clock struck midnight, pumpkin got smashed, and the mice ran away.
Welcome, Bree, and everybody else watching and listening to us. They're the Crochet Hearts. Hello, Liz. Once again, this is the season finale, so after tonight, Twitch streams will go on hiatus until probably the first or second week of February. So we appreciate your support again all this season, a season that started late because of my situation, as you guys know. So we decided, under the circumstances, to extend it instead of ending it at the end of the year in December. So once again, if you're watching us, you can download all of our podcasts back to the start of Kingdom Come. Well, actually, 2020, when COVID was sort of an unknown thing. You can go to anchor.fm/anime radio. And if you would like to, conversely, if you're listening to us, watch all of our shenanigans, you can go to twitch.tv/extreme anime radio. And all of our podcasts since the start of this season are also available to view on YouTube. youtube.com/@extreme anime radio. And don't forget the @. So that's something that normally happens 24 to 48 hours after we do the podcast because of the Twitch exclusivity rule. Ooh.
Yes, the exclusivity rule. One ring to bind them all, one ring to hold them.
Yep.
Is that how it goes? My Lord of the Rings
One ring to
lore.
rule them all?
Okay, you know more about Lord of the Rings than I do, I'll be honest.
Yeah. But before we came on the air, Neff, you thought I had a picture of New York behind me. No, this is not New York.
Well, all I see is parking garages, and all I can think of is that's New York.
No.
Or downtown Toronto, but I know you wouldn't be having that behind you.
Well, if you look above the letter P on, if you look to my right as you see me on the screen, you will see the characters ko-i-n, coin.
Ah, okay. See, I wasn't that close to the screen, because it's like, I'm sorry, putting my nose up against the screen is not good for my nose. Never mind my eyes.
But actually, this picture is not just of Japan. This is a picture that I took in Japan on my last trip.
Aha, that explains it.
So I would have to back away real quick so you can see the background here. But this is Kita Shinagawa. So this is south of Shinagawa, one of the major parts in the Tokyo Ring, if you will. And this is the old Tokaido Road. So this was the road that linked Tokyo to Kyoto back in the days of the samurai. So what you're seeing in this picture is the modern road.
Ah, I see.
So
plans to go back there, I trust?
What's that?
I said plans to go back there, I trust?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll do that. But no, it's nice to reminisce looking at all the photos from the previous trip. I was going to use a photo of the Tokyo Skytree that you've seen on my Facebook profile for so long, but no, then I would just kind of look like somebody with a big halo behind my head.
I could go with a joke, but I'm going to be nice about it, okay?
Yeah, I can sort of think of where you're going there.
You know too well, sir.
So, anyway, I'll just move on. Yes, within the next week, Bree and I head on over. We're going to be all over the place. I don't want to go over, a lot of the specifics. I'll go over the specifics after we've returned and do our first podcast after that. But I've been doing a lot of stuff today over here getting ready for the trip. I've been making copies of my passport, which I normally do when I travel overseas. But now I'm doing on the same page a copy of my passport and my COVID records. So that way, those are now the two most important items.
Yeah, it's a different world than the last time you were over there.
Mm-hmm. So I actually came across a few blogs and videos about how people are experiencing entry into Japan. And it seems like if you have the full vaccination and you fill out the digital app, which Bree and I have done, you get the blue color indicator saying that you're good to go. When you get off the plane, you have to go right to a quarantine station, and when you show them your blue screen, they're going to hand you a pink slip that tells you about, COVID-19 prevention measures while you're in Japan. But it's not just that. It's actually sort of Willy Wonka's golden ticket, because when you get through the various stages of the quarantine inspection, if you have this pink slip, it's kind of like the pink golden ticket. You got to wave the ticket, and they'll direct you, and you can bypass all of the quarantine at that point, because you have already registered your information with the government.
Okay, I was going to say that sounds very weird, and then you explain it. I'm like, aha. But that seems a little archaic to have to be given a slip of paper now.
Yeah, right?
I mean, because you're doing a digital app, and you'd figure that why don't you just, have the digital app be updated once you've gone through? Okay.
Now, there are times actually when we go into the app and you have to log in again because they've updated, mainly because they've changed the entry rules to go to Japan. So now they have, if you're arriving from mainland China or if you're arriving from Macau, now they're requiring a COVID test before you leave, and once you land at the airport. So that's going to add some considerable time if you're coming from those areas.
Yes, I have a few projects that I've donated to via Kickstarter, and a lot of them, of course, are based in China, manufacturing parts. And I'm getting reports, and I'm going, oh, dear, that does not look good.
Yeah. So the latest news really coming out of Japan the last few days is China going reciprocal, and the government now imposing suspension of visa processing to go to China now if you're coming from South Korea or Japan. What they're saying is retaliation for other countries instituting the COVID measures.
Well, China is free to do that. It's their country, just like we're free to impose whatever restrictions we see fit. So it's the new reality. We got to get used to it again.
Yeah. So looking forward to going, and I have my new carry-on bag with me. I'm starting to provision for stuff. So I'm including a lot of stuff about, places we're staying at in Japan, insurance information, the copies of the passport, a few other things, and also, one day and one night's worth of clothes if for some godforsaken reason something happens to the luggage.
I was going to say you are taking proper precautions with the luggage, I trust?
Yes. I have 2 air tags, and they're each going into the checked-in bags.
Perfect. I was wondering if you were going to actually mention what specific measures you were taking, but yeah, that is the proper thing to do, folks, nowadays, especially if you're coming through any major airports, because there's a 50-50 chance right now that your luggage will go somewhere that you don't, and vice versa.
And it was exacerbated with the issues that we had here in the U.S. over the holidays. And then possibly again today, Neff. Did you hear the news about our wonderful federal aviation system?
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I'm going, oh, boy. They didn't issue a ground stop from what I saw, but apparently it came close.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no, there was a ground stop. It was the first, I believe it was the first national ground stop since 9/11.
Ooh, yeah. Because, I mean, all I had seen as far as, how it affected us up here was Air Canada was saying if you had a flight going into the U.S., double check.
Right.
It might not be going.
Right. And so that ground stop, I think, only happened for like 1 or 2 hours, but the FAA said, we need time to reboot our computers. So I've been reading reports on CNN and Fox sort of explain the situation, is that this system failure occurred last night or sometime yesterday. It is the NOTAMs, or Notice to Airmen. Actually, I think it's either Notice to Airmen, or sometimes now they use the gender-neutral Notice to Air Missions instead of Notice to Airman. And it's basically the important safety notices that the pilots are required to have before they fly. So when they fly and they file their flight plan, they have to get these NOTAMs to see what's happening, at the airport they're leaving from, at the airport they're going to, airports they might be flying over, and when they file flight plans, they have to put 1 or 2 alternate airports, so they have to do that. They have to get the NOTAMs for that particular location, and of course, each country will have their own general NOTAMs as well. Hello, Raider. Thank you for joining us. So yes, very, very peculiar thing. We're both, in both cases, seem to be dealing between the FAA issue and the Southwest Airlines issue, old computer systems that take so long to reboot.
You see, the problem is that a lot of companies don't invest in IT because they don't realize that if you don't keep your IT updated, eventually it's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And if it fails, it can fail catastrophically.
Mm-hmm.
See Southwest, and now see this issue with the FAA and the NOTAM system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'll just step a little bit aside for a second to say, where I work, we were using up until last year, we were using computers that ran Windows 7, which had no support, not even extended security support. So they were relying upon essentially vendor antivirus, anti-malware. And if anything got past that, it was like game over. And we deal with client files, which are supposed to be confidential. So, needless to say, I was one of the ones in my office, very few who knew of this danger and was very, very like, "Ooh, this is gonna. If this goes bad, this will go bad. This is gonna." And so eventually, we did get new machines. We got up to Windows 10, which of course only gives us now another 2 years.
Yeah.
Because of course, Windows 10 will go out of regular maintenance patches as of 2025. So it's going to be the new machines will at least be able to run Windows 11. Now, whether or not they can do remote upgrades to Windows 11 or not, if I had hair, it would be falling out right now. Oh, I tell you.
I still know a few places that use Windows 7 unbelievably so.
Okay, as long as they aren't handling your financial information, no worries. I mean, if all they're doing is like, looking after a fry machine at McDonald's, fine.
Yeah.
But anything to do with financial or health information, that's bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Bree was mentioning she's just a little bit worried about our flights to the coast. I am a little bit too. So not to go into too specific stuff, but we'll be meeting up on the west coast of the U.S. and then continuing on from there. As you've seen, there have been a lot of bad weather over the last few days. We've been checking up on our families. If there's any positive note, it's that I know that our particular flight that we're taking to Japan has not been canceled in all these days. It's actually been leaving on time. So, yes, as long as we can get to the coast, I think we're going to be just fine.
Well, that's always the thing with a multi-leg journey. It's like, okay, this leg of the journey, normally fine. It's the other legs of the journey that we don't know until we go.
Right.
Having done now my first multi-leg journey, I'll say it this way. I'd much rather do a direct flight and pay more.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. Given our circumstances, this was, I think, the best solution. So, but at least once we get on that plane, we'll be in good comfort and good hands for the journey over there. I think it's about 12, 13 hours or something like that.
Okay, so now doing the math backwards. So you're going to be on the air and in between airports yourself roughly, say 16, 17 hours?
Actually, the layover is overnight.
That's even longer than I thought. I'm going, oh boy. Oh, that would just be like,
we're not staying in the airport overnight. No.
Well, no, I mean, even if you were staying, I'm just going, okay, the airport hotel. Oof. and this is from someone who stays regularly for the charity work I do, at Anime North, at an airport very near, or hotel very near an airport. So it's like, ugh.
No, we got everything in hand, I think. And I was taking out all the currency from my safe because I have the currency saved from the last time I was in Japan, plus some other currency that I picked up in the last few months, plus 2 of the IC cards that I had from the last trip. So the only question is I don't know how much money is on those IC cards. I won't know until I get there.
I was going to say there's no way to find out in advance. Oh, crap.
No. There might be an app somewhere that I could download and it might be able to check, but I'm not exactly 100% sure. Oh, and I also found some Canadian funds while I was in the safe.
Yes, the plastic money.
The plastic money.
Well, yeah, it is a plastic polymer. That's why it looks as good as it does. Of course, when it tears in rather interesting ways. In fact, I gave someone a 20 that literally looked like, a beaver had taken a gnaw to it. We have no idea how this happened. I mean, I'm like looking at it going, I don't know. I mean, 95% of it's here. You're fine.
But so yes, so we're looking forward to it, and we hope to have. I might post some updates on the Instagram for the station while we're over there. Might also do post some updates in the Discord, and of course, hopefully a full report will come We do the first podcast after we come back, which will be the start of Season 7. So please look forward to that. Neff, let's see. Damar Hamlin. Wow, what a big positive turnaround for this guy since we last had this show. I believe, it was over the weekend. He was air-meted over to Buffalo from Cincinnati, and then it was, one night in Buffalo or 2 nights he got discharged?
Yeah, he was discharged today, so that's great news. He'll be recovering with the help of the team doctors and his own medical team.
Mm-hmm.
No idea if he's going to be available to show up on Sunday when they face the Fish in Highmark Stadium, which is Buffalo Bills' home stadium. I'm calling it Highmark from hell because we've now found out that the Miami quarterback did not pass his concussion protocol. So they are using a third stringer, apparently. Not even the second stringer, because the second stringer, apparently, his fingers are mush. So they're using a third string quarterback. Now, I'm not going to say this is a guaranteed win, mind you. No, I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to say that makes it that much more difficult for the Fish. And I'm hoping for a fish fry on Sunday afternoon.
Well, the way you put it, yeah. So
As I said, the stars are aligning, but you never know. That's why you play the game.
Yep. So we have, I believe, a total of 6 wild card games. So looking forward to that. Any other games you're looking forward to besides the Fish and the Bills?
The one that intrigues me is going to be the New York Giants.
Oh,
Jersey
yeah.
Giants, what I call them, and the Minnesota Vikings. Why is that? Because the Minnesota Vikings are the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team. They can literally show up one week and look like they could win the Super Bowl. The next week, it looks like they couldn't find the toilet bowl with a guide and a map. So it's very possible that the New York Giants will get them when they're in that mode, and they will move on, which will be hilarious for me because it's going to be like, oh, great, you're 10-4 or whatever you finished Minnesota, and you still can't finish the job. Then, of course, there's the other game that is going to be grins and giggles for me, which is the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mainly because I have reasons to loathe both teams. Both teams could go, get hit by a meteorite as far as I'm concerned. It's a question of who actually wins. Right. Does Dak Prescott remember how to throw a football? Or does Tom Brady still have enough strength in his noodle arm left to throw a football? That's what that one comes down to. What about yourself?
No, you just mentioned it. Obviously, the Giants are the local team. I don't want to say New York's team because that would be technically incorrect, but the local team. But then, and then I want to see now the winner of which game faces the Chiefs.
Well, it'll be the lowest seed that faces the Chiefs. So whoever is the absolute lowest. So, for example,
I want to say it's like 4 versus the 4 or 5 seed. So that's what I thought.
Well, it's always the lowest, whoever's left. So, for example, if Miami were to win, then they would face the Chiefs.
Okay.
Because they would be the 7th seed, right? They were the absolute last ones to get in.
All right.
But as we know, that's not going to happen. Now, whether or not Cincinnati makes it to the next round, well, they're facing a Ravens team that doesn't have Lamar Jackson. I want the Ravens to win on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't see how they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they literally, take Joe Burrow out back, put him in a straitjacket, and say, you stay here for the entire game. I don't see that happening.
But, no, I'm trying to look at the playoff bracket here. Here we go. So divisional to be announced against Kansas City. So there we go.
Yeah, as I said, the divisional will be the lowest seed. Will go to Kansas City unless. Now, I don't think it's possible. I think we'd have to wait until the next round, the round following, if the Bills meet the Kansas City Chiefs, that will be at a neutral site. Now,
Right.
the latest rumor that I've heard, nothing's been confirmed yet, is that they're looking at the Atlanta Stadium for the site of such a neutral game.
Interesting.
Reason being, it's an NFC team and a team not in the playoffs.
My guess would have been Indianapolis.
No, and there's a good story behind that, because the Indianapolis Stadium is being used for a volleyball competition. And that's been something that's going on in that stadium apparently for years.
Okay.
Ever since the stadium was first constructed. So they didn't want to, sever that business relationship for this one-off, which fully makes sense, right? Because
Right.
you don't want to kick a reliable source of income to the curb for a one-shot.
Mm.
Now, that leads to the other rumor that's been going around, that this neutral site game, if it happens, will be a test of whether or not to take the championship games from the AFC and the NFC and put them in neutral sites.
That
As
you
the Super
decide in
Bowl.
advance.
Yes. So that you could build up momentum, build up, the hype, etc. Although I don't see how you do that, because you'd have to plan so far in advance to know, okay, which stadiums would be available, and would that still end up essentially, potentially giving a team an unfair advantage unless they went looking for opposite conference stadiums, which I think is what the plan would be.
That would make more sense because, well, look at last year's big game.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year's big game was an example of that one possibility, that 1 in 32 chance
Right.
that the team in that stadium would get there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case of SoFi Stadium, there was actually a 2 in 32 chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, there are the Chargers and, LA Chargers and the, help me, Jar, my brain. It's the Chargers and it's an NFC, the Rams.
Rams.
Okay, it took me a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, I should know this because there aren't that many stadiums where there are two teams.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, of course, being the Meadowlands, whatever
Right.
they're calling it these days,
Mm-hmm.
where the Giants and the Jets play.
Right.
Play being, somewhat in air quotes, although again the Giants did their deed,
Mm-hmm.
so we can't make those jokes, at least not
Right.
this year. At least not this year.
So I'm looking at the chart right now. We have the Seattle Seahawks. I love how they advanced to the playoffs by virtue of peculiar ending to, what was it, Detroit and Green Bay.
Well, the best part is, Detroit and Green Bay is a conference game, and normally Green Bay treats Detroit like a doormat, steps all over them, wipes their feet on them, and just tosses them to the curb. The fact that the Lions managed on national TV yet, in the final game of the season, to send Aaron Rodgers and his merry men, or not so merry men in this case, packing, is hilarious to me. It's just that bit of schadenfreude where it's like, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, you've turned out to be not so nice a person. So maybe if you get a little bit of, bad karma your way, I ain't going to feel sorry for you no more.
It was a defensive penalty which resulted in an ejection on behalf of the Packers, and I think that, moving the yardage and creating a new set of downs, I think was key in the Lions winning the game.
Well, yeah, I'll say this. I mean, when it comes to that, it comes down to, okay, the Lions saw an opportunity and they took it, right? Green Bay created that opportunity because they have players, and this is the same player. He was warned once before because he did it once before. Got ejected for, less than gentlemanly behavior, on the field, which, considering that football is a contact sport, means you've crossed quite a line. In this case, he was shoving a medical personnel who, in fact, had simply, said to him, hey, move it while I go tend to my injured player here, and, on the opposite team. And, considering what had just happened with Damar Hamlin, that's a very, very bad look for the league.
Mm.
You know, it's like the medical personnel are there for a reason. They're not there to give out candy and flowers.
Right.
So I think the ejection was warranted.
Mm-hmm.
And again, was it the final tipping point? I'll be honest with you, watching that entire game, Green Bay did not look that interested for, you know, what was essentially their playoff lives.
Mm-hmm.
I expected them to come out hot, fast, and trying to make kitty litter out of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do so. So,
well, there's a lot to look forward to. As you guys know, if you've watched or listened to us for a long time, we're big sports fans, so we're really excited to see what happens this weekend. Well, I may not be paying attention much because I'll be packing, but I'll try to catch bits and pieces here and there.
well, I'm just funny. I'm just laughing because the final game of Wild Card Weekend is Monday night, and it is the Tampa Bay Dallas game, and we're getting the Peyton brothers. And I'm going, I don't know if that's the best game to have the Peyton brothers, because this might actually be interesting enough that the Peyton brothers are really superfluous. No one's going to care.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
So I'm going, but we shall see.
Yep. We turn back to Japan here. We have a lot of these rituals that are happening in Japan in these first few days of 2023 to celebrate the new year and luck for that particular time frame. We have the return for the first time since the COVID pandemic of the Lucky Man race. So that is held, I believe, in a shrine in Hyogo, which is on the way towards western Japan. And there's a shrine where men will line up at the shrine gates, and they'll open the gates, and it's kind of like starting a horse race. All the men will run and run through the precincts of the shrine until they get to the main shrine, and the first three people there win and receive the large wealth and luck for 2023. So the saying goes. But if you saw the video, Nev, I'm not sure if you did, there was one guy who was at the front as they opened the doors, and he ran so far ahead of anybody else, it was no contest. He could become a running back for the Georgia Bulldogs at this rate. What do you think?
Well, I haven't seen the video, but there was no chance for any shenanigans, right?
No.
Okay, not like that one. I can't remember if it was Brooklyn or New York, the marathon runner who basically, got out in front, took the subway, and then hopped off the subway to finish the race. I'm like going, wait a minute. I know this isn't going to happen in Japan, but just yikes.
I remember that, yeah. It was an infamous moment. That's why now they have sensors, every so amount of space to make sure that you're on the course. But
they don't let you have subway tokens anymore.
No. But no, we have that going on. We had Coming of Age Day. So in Japan, they've actually lowered coming of age for certain things, or the legal age, I should say, I guess, to look at housing and stuff. They've lowered it recently from 20 to 18. So in some places, they're celebrating coming the age of 18-year-olds, some places of 20-year-olds, and some places they're actually celebrating coming of age, I believe, of 22-year-olds because they weren't able to do coming of age ceremonies the last couple of years because of COVID.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of the things now. A lot of things that we didn't do, during the worst of COVID are now coming back, slightly modified to catch up, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is one of those things.
Mm. Oh, we have somebody we need to promptly ban. Would you do the honors, please, Liz? Thank you very much. I love when those things happen randomly in our chat. No, I'm not interested in your product. Thank you very much.
Yes, the bots.
Thank you.
Where's the bot hammer when you need it?
Yes. I love sometimes when I get followed by these random Twitter handles when I post updates about upcoming shows. Oh, check our graphics out, and then it's all part of a nice little scheme that's going on.
Yeah, you get those random private follows, and some of them, what they say in their opening statements, you're like going, you couldn't be more obviously a bot if you tried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, some of them are quite sophisticated, but some are just like, no. Click, ban, go away.
Live podcasting, folks. But I was going to say, Neff, another thing that happens in Japan at this time of the year, the first auctions of the year happen for various goods and products and whatnot. So we have your, for example, your fish auctions. Tuna. Historically, tuna goes at a high price at the start of the year, again, as a tradition, from my understanding, to bring good luck for the new year. But something else I noticed in the news lately, cherries going at auction. Small red cherries.
Is it because there's a dearth of them that they're suddenly now valuable enough to auction?
I don't know, but apparently this is new to me. We have, let's see, a Yamagata Prefecture cherries. So there's a special brand of cherry called Sato Nishiki that comes from Yamagata Prefecture, and there are a total of I want to say, let's see, 8 by 5, so that would be 40 cherries, 40 small red cherries in this one box. The total weight is 500 grams. So Neff understands what 500 grams is. For those of you who don't, it's a little over 1 pound, I believe. And the auction price for these cherries, 1.3 million yen, or almost 10,000 US dollars.
What? Okay. Now, I could see this if the money goes to charity. Okay. And I say this because the start of the year usually brings out over in the United States, the Barrett Jackson Automotive auction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, there's always one vehicle that is sold off for charity that goes for a stupid amount of money. So I could see that. But you're telling me... Oh.
Yes.
my brain can barely compute that just for the logic of 40 small cherries, $10,000.
Yeah.
There isn't even enough there to make cherry booze out of. Come on, something useful at least.
Yep. So let's see. We have. I'm trying to look up the news about the tuna auction that happened this year. So this is, it did not bring a lot of money this time around, because in previous years, the one tuna is fetched like a few million US dollars. So this year, the record was, if I got to pull it up again, you have to forgive me because
Forgive him, folks. He's floundering around while he's looking.
Oh. Let's see, 212 kilogram bluefin tuna sold for 270,000 US dollars.
Holy mackerel.
That's actually... Well, you just keep going with this, don't you? Don't be a sorry face,
Oh, believe me, you give me a line like that, I'm gonna pull,
I called you a sorry face. You get that one?
Yeah, I know that's a fish.
Actually, the sari cash in Japan is actually going down. So if you're interested in having sari as sushi in Japan, you may have to pay up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, the problem is, like, nature and fisheries, like when you're catching them out in the wild, it gets harder and harder. That's why a lot of the fish now is farmed, is the term for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a salmon farm, for example, out in BC, but, I mean, it's the same fish, right?
Right.
Without all the effort, in theory.
Yes. No, I've seen a salmon hatchery once. I think it was in California. So, Have I ever watched Wicked Tuna? Oh, no, I have not.
Wicked tuna. Now I have this mental image of a fish with a pointy hat on its head, waving a wand.
No, I have not seen Wicked Tuna. So that's I think that's one where they go out and search for tuna, right? It's kind of like Deadliest Catch, or isn't it, Bree? She can back me up on that. But
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the fisheries, it's like that is an industry that, I salute the men and women who do it, because I could never stand on a boat that long.
Okay.
Being up to my armpits in fish.
Yeah. I've seen a little bit of Deadliest Catch before, and one of my favorite things is that you wouldn't notice unless you pay attention, but the narrator is one Mike Rowe, a host of Dirty Jobs.
Mike Rowe.
Yes.
Tuna Rowe.
No, I'm saying Deadliest Catch. Right. No. So a guy who I follow a lot, and he's actual. If you look at YouTube, there are a lot of old videos when he did the overnight shift at QVC or the Home Shopping Network or something like that. Very interesting to watch. Have just go ad-lib all so long.
Okay, now knowing the quality of the merchandise that's usually hawked on those channels, I'm going.
Oh, wow. That's a very interesting tidbit that Bree said. There's a lot of fishermen off of the east coast of the U.S., and I would imagine probably Canada as well, right, Neff? That fish for tuna and sell them and go abroad to Japan.
I mean, up in Canada, we've had to curtail a lot of the fishing industry because we were basically fishing them out, especially on the east coast,
Yeah.
because unfortunately, our fish and lobster were in high demand, and unfortunately, nature is not able to replace at the same rate that we take.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to, the government had to say, no, you can't go fish anymore. Mm-hmm. We won't give as many licenses to do it.
Right.
So, which has led to a number of problems. But ultimately, that if you can experience, a Canadian lobster, apparently it's very good. Now, I'm not into lobster, mind you. I'll do the tuna, I'll do the salmon, but when it comes to lobster, it's just like, no, it's got pinchy things. It's got pinchy things, and it looks at me. No.
So I think if you know how to pull apart a cooked lobster and stuff, I think it works out.
Well, maybe if I was just looking at the meat, maybe I could get away with it. But I have a local grocery store where they have a tank with lobsters in it. And I've walked by that thing and I've gone, no. I am not eating anything that looks like it could actually hurt if I got anywhere near it.
You know what this reminds me of? This is an interesting story. One of the times I was in Japan, I went to a sushi restaurant in Akihabara called Ginzo. Have you been to Ginzo with us?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So this is one that's right under the train tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I remember going there once, and I looked behind the beautiful sushi counter, and there's a fish tank. There was a gorgeous fish behind there that I saw when I came in and took my seat. I don't know what exactly it was, but I know it was a beautiful fish. And there are a few other people in the restaurant. So I go, look at the order, look at the menu, I place my order. Then I look back at the sushi chef, look back at the tank, and the fish is gone.
Uh-oh.
I don't think it was from my order, but still.
I was going to say that fish went to a fry as the guest of honor.
Oh, no. The guest of honor.
Well, the guest of honor, yeah. The meal of honor may be the one.
Hey, that's what to say, yeah. But, no, that's very one side project of a story, if you will. to tell about this.
Yeah, more than background noise, let me tell you.
Yes. So yeah, it's been wow. As we get close to the top of the hour here, we have now done podcasts for just a little over 3 years, Neff. 3 years and 2 weeks, I think.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yes, and also probably like a year and change since we've been doing this format, because I think it was when did we start on Twitch? 2021 in the fall, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe Liz can back me up on that. Was it around fall 2021 that we started this? I know we've gotten a lot of help to get this started and everything, so it could have been a little earlier than that. I know we were sort of experimenting, but that might have been a little bit longer than that. Transitioning and migrating to the different software, different doohickeys and whatnot, and sharing our love for Japan, Japanese culture, anime, and sports. I know that I'll have to go and bring some things back for people I know while I'm there. That's why hopefully I'm going to bring in, a little bigger suitcase. Oh, you're chronologically impaired? Okay, I apologize.
So she's saying she's calendar-less is what she's saying.
But, well, I'll ask you, Neff, would you like me to bring anything for you that you would like to disclose on the air?
Well, if you find something, anything from, this past season's shows, or even something that's currently airing, because, the charity auction's coming, and we are going back to a full auction. So if I can get something, quote unquote, fresh from Japan, not a fish, then, because of course a fish won't last till May, unless I somehow figure out an aquarium in here. But anyways, no, but seriously, if you can, find some room in your luggage for that, that would be very much appreciated, because we are going to be going back to a live auction. It's going to be a little more difficult than it has been in previous years to gather materials, and I'm not sure how well that's going to go, so we're going to have to see how that all works out, because, the conditions under which we're working are a lot different than we were in the before times.
Right.
So things are going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm always up for a challenge. I mean, and I keep doing this. People ask me, why do you keep doing this? And I'm like, well, it's a lot of stress, but, if I can help Toronto Sick Kids Hospital, they help me, I help them, They scratched my back years ago when I was a youngster, so I scratch theirs now.
Right. So, Neff has been helping with the charity auction for many years, and we've had a lot of donations to the charity auction over the years when we played music. So this will be a fitting time to hopefully bring something back, and then after that, I got to get it shipped from here to you, and hope that your good old customs agents don't get their grabby hands on it.
I'm going, do I have to make a drive down there? That's about the only way to be sure these days.
Yeah, right? Yeah, well, if you drive, we'll meet in Niagara Falls, and then you'll be fine, I guess, won't you?
Oh, I don't have to cross the border once, and, they're not going to look in my trunk, maybe. Who am I kidding? CSA are going, you're bringing something in, pay the tax, we don't care what it is. That's all they care about.
The only other option, well, I guess if I were to send it from Japan to you, it'd be the same thing. It's still got to check it anyway.
I was going to say it's going to get checked when it hits Vancouver.
Yeah. I thoroughly expect that when I come back into the U.S., I'm probably going to be interviewed for a little bit again because of the fact that I have a very common name, if you will.
I don't know what to tell you, JR, because now you have, of course, the extra equipment in your body that will mean you're going to have to go through maybe slightly different procedures.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Who knows what that'll do? Maybe they'll get you, a bit of a free pass because they're like, yeah, he's, not going to do much because he can't do much.
Well, you're talking about airport security. You're not talking about immigration.
Well, a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B.
But, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a note down of what we said a few minutes ago. Spy X Family, that's still relevant, right?
Yep.
All right, so maybe we'll do something like that. Maybe I'll go back to Kotobukiya for you.
Yeah, and speaking of anime, I was catching up on some stuff. Finally had some time.
Yeah.
Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. Finished off season 1. I've gotten partway through season 2. And I'm absolutely enjoying myself because, this show is completely bonkers and insane. And it's now gotten to the point, I'm going to be spoiling a little bit if you haven't already seen this, but the show's getting on in years now. Iruma is now, the device he has on his hand, the ring, decided to help him by giving him an evil phase. we're just about to see that when I stop for the day. So after I finish driving around Mama Canuck, going to the dentist, and driving out with somebody else, if I have any time left over before the evening, I will try to watch a few more episodes of that because this is it. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
And it's basically, you watch it and you just go, oh, this kid, he dodges bullets, that like he should by all rights have been found out as a human and been booted out of there eons ago. But he somehow manages through sheer protagonist luck, rank EX, for those of you who get the Fate Grand Order reference, to say, hey, wait a minute here. He can't be that lucky. Oh, yes, he can.
I have to brush up on a list of anime shows that are relevant because I'm sure those are going to be the type of shows they're going to plaster all over the areas that, they're attracted to people like us, such as Akihabara. Where we're staying is pretty close to Akihabara, actually, in Tokyo, so be a very easy commute to get there.
I was going to say, and there was another show I tried, well, the first episode anyway, that's just been released from this season, Tomo-chan Is Really a Girl. And
oh no,
I'm gonna give that a couple more episodes. But right now, after the first episode, the female MC and the male MC are so dense between the two of them, they're a pair of black holes. And I'm going, no, you can't be that stupid and just be let outside. I mean, you just can't be. So we'll see how that works out.
Nice. I have to see if because I never checked. I don't think I checked this out when I flew to Japan and coming back from Japan. But I'm wondering if the Japanese airline has anime to watch. I can't remember if there was last time.
Maybe. I mean, I can tell you, Air Canada had like basic children's shows, no anime.
Okay.
In Japanese, so if my Japanese was better than, enough to get me arrested or deported, face slapped, then I might have, engaged myself in those. But yeah, that's the level of my Japanese, I'm afraid.
Well, as we get to 8:57, as we're recording this now, we come to the end of the podcast. Neff, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers and listeners as we wrap up another season officially?
Well, once again, thank you for tuning in to hearing the ramblings of myself and JR. With me, it's more rambling than anything else, of course. But again, you've stuck with us. You've joined us throughout our journeys. You've seen the good. You've seen the bad. You have them both, and there you have. And, I'm not going to go there. But seriously, thank you. We appreciate you, and we'll be back next season, bigger, better, and JR is going to have travel stories to tell, which I'm really looking forward to.
And hopefully also at some point around the time we start the new season, we're going to continue Ace Attorney. That's something we haven't done in quite a while since we ended the last chapter, which took about from weeks. So,
Now, we played it on Steam, so you can tell exactly how many hours we spent on that game, right?
Oh yes, if you let me load up Steam. Well, I'll tell you what. Do the questions and comments, and then while you do that, I will try to discover.
All right. If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or complaints about this podcast or our Twitch stream, drop us a line at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. You can find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter handle, our Instagram account, our Discord server, and our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com at Extreme Anime Radio, where you'll find archived versions of this podcast, or archived versions of this stream, and archived versions of this podcast are available through anchor.fm/anime radio or your favorite podcasting platform.
All right, I am waiting for this to open, and here we go. So let's see. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, Neff, that the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles includes 2 games. Because we played this before. The first game in this series, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and the one that we've been playing recently, Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. So it's between those 2 games. Just keep that in mind. 75.9 hours.
And at the billing rate of the typical Toronto lawyer, which is somewhere north of $200 for a competent one, yikes. 15,000 Canadian beaver bucks, not including HST.
Yes, exactly. So look forward to amazing stories and more legal problems with this game, if you will. Hopefully only with this game as we get to the next season of the XAR podcast. So stick around to our Discord and also our social media platforms to find out when that happens. Again, also probably in our Instagram and our Discord, I'll try to post some updates from the trip as things go on. If not, then just join us in the next podcast and we'll have a full update for you guys. So thank you guys for joining us, listening and tuning in and watching and whatever you do to enjoy this little show. We will see you at the start of the next season, which will happen in the beginning of February. My special thanks go to Neff, of course, the sidekick in all this, as well as the support crew, including Bree and Liz. Also, some of our other supporters include Sonic and Junji and Flax and Karam and Caldit and probably a few others I'm missing. But, Keiichi-san as well. He checks in from time to time to say, hi, how you doing? So I appreciate you guys and appreciate everybody who has joined us here. Until the next time we have a podcast. For Neff, I'm JR. Thank you for watching and listening. And remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Radio podcast. And don't forget, archived versions of this podcast are available at anchor.fm/anime radio. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next season.
And, I'm sorry, Bree just said, Mika, of course, Mika. Mika has participated in a lot of our streams, also supports us. And Mika and a few other of the cosplayers and artists of Sarah have given some boost to our channel in recent months, especially after the thing that happened to me. So to Mika and all the other cosplayers and artists, thank you. And we will see you guys at the start of the next season. Thank you for watching and listening to the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast. Okay.